Tank has won this fight, but my opinion doesn't matter. I just think Cruz didn't do enough.
If Lamont Roach can't get a win after outlanding you, outboxing you, and taking your belt rounds, what the hell does he have to do? Start paying the judges or what? So explain to me how this becomes a draw, like genuinely. Because if you watched the second half of this fight and thought, yeah, even, you may be blind. Roach didn't lose to Isaac "Pitbull" Cruz. He lost to the optics of pressure. And boxing has always been rewarding optics over control for so long now that honestly it's starting to look intentional. Welcome to Avener's Counterpunch. And I may be a bit late on this one, but I really wanted to cover and break down what happened in this fight. Because normally I sided with the pure pressure fighter on the basis that it's more entertaining, but Roach really came here to stand and trade blows. So why does it seem that Lamont keeps getting his fight stolen? And yes, tie equals stolen. Okay, so the December 6th fight, the official scores were 115, 111 going to Cruz. And then 113 to 113 twice. A majority draw. So Cruz keeps the belt, and that draw hit different because it's the second straight majority draw the Roach has had this year in a big spotlight fight. And I wouldn't just call that bad luck. That's a pattern. And patterns in boxing typically have somebody's fingerprints on it. All right, let's get something straight. Pressure is cool. I like pressure. Pressure sells, pressure makes highlights, but pressure by itself is not winning. So if you're walking forward eating jabs like Skittles and the other guy is landing clean, you're not imposing your will. You're donating your face to science. Because check it out, CompuBox had Roach landing 191 of 467, so a 41%, compared to Cruz's 159 to 544, which is 29%. So Roach landed more punches while throwing less, which is the definition of efficiency. Roach also doubled Cruz's jab connects, 49 to 27, and he even edged the power connects, 142 to 132. So if the numbers say that Roach hit him more, cleaner with the jab and power, what are we scoring? Crowd volume? Which, by the way, in my prediction video, I said it. I made it super clear that flurries from Cruz, even if they don't land, would make it seem like he was winning and that Roach has to respond with something clean. And the crazy thing is that I think that Lamont actually did that. So how did he lose? And honestly, I think that people just confuse simple aggression with effective aggression. So Cruz was aggressive the whole fight, no doubt. But was he effective? I think that came in waves because Roach was effective more often. Now, I'm not doing that thing where we pretend that Cruz didn't have moments, because he did. He started fast, he got the crowd, and he got the knockdown, which respect. You know, Roach's glove touched the canvas after a left hook. That's a legit 10 to 8 moment on paper. And right there is where I think casuals went, oh yeah, Pitbull got this. Because when you see a knockdown, your brain starts building the movie. The boxing isn't a movie, it's rounds. Roach didn't panic. He didn't go into survival mode. He didn't start sprinting like he stole something, right? He started making Cruz miss and paying him back. And look, I have just started becoming a fan of Roach. Coming into this one, I was expecting someone who kept moving intelligently, picking shots and escaping. However, when I saw him stand his ground, I legit said to myself, there's no way. Honestly, I thought it was just a matter of time before he got dropped, cracked. But my God, he did show us that he's not afraid and he can still land cleanly in the pocket. And he also has a pretty good chin because he did catch a few good ones from Cruz. But by the way, this is what I was hoping that we saw out of Devin in his last fight. But anyway, Roach's momentum built after the early rounds, and that middle to late stretch swung his way. This is where I think the fight really changed, because Roach didn't just box. He started to take over the role that Cruz usually owns, right? He became that guy that ended up deciding when the exchanges happened. So much so, we even saw Pitbull adjust a round where he essentially tried fighting on the back leg. because he felt that he needed to try something different. And here's the hidden part. When a pressure fighter like Pitbull starts backing up, judges don't always know what to do with their brains because now the story they expected is gone. And round 7 is where the weirdness really starts because Cruz finally got punished for the stuff he'd been doing. Grabbing, hitting late, messy work, some headbutts. And look, referee James Green, I believe it was, deducted a point from Cruz in the 7th for shots to the back during the clinches. Cruz later did complain that the deduction cost him the win. And Cruz acting like that's some conspiracy is hilarious. Like, bro, if you don't want a point taken, stop doing point taking behavior. And I actually think he got the appropriate amount of leniency, but a stricter ref may have done it way earlier. We also saw Roach say that I can't fight my opponent and fight the judges. All I need is an even playing field, which I kind of get. Now, I already hear the comments, but Pitbull was ripping the body. True, he did. He invested, he made Roach work, but CompuBox showed Cruz with a big advantage in body connects. One of the few categories that, Pitbull actually led. But here's the issue for me, because body work counts when it changes behavior. If Roach started to fade, stop throwing, start running, then cool, Cruz is clearly breaking him. But if Roach still landing some clean shots, still winning, some of the exchanges, still taking rounds, then the bodywork is just a nice effort. By the way, did you catch round 10 when Roach did that Matador taunt? That was him basically telling the entire arena, he's not touching me clean like that. I think that's confidence, and the judges are supposed to reward confidence backed by clean shots. Let's talk about the most disrespectful part, because that 115 to 111 Cruz card is the card that tells you somebody shut up with a conclusion in the mind already. So 115 to 111 means you basically watched the second half of that fight and said, nah, I'm good. And it makes you ask, which round did Roach have to win to get credit? Like, what was the secret requirement? A knockdown, a knockout, a new last name? So unfortunately, if you're Roach and you're facing a more well-known guy, you have to assume that swing rounds won't go your way. That sounds kind of cynical, but it's boxing. So if you're up 2, you're really only up 1. And if you're up 1, you're basically tied. So yeah, look, my take is simple, right? Lamont Roach did enough to win. The stats back it, the second half backs it, the way that Cruz started reacting backs it. It's so crazy. It's not even the first time this, happened for him this year. So now Roach has 2 huge nights where the world watched him perform and the record book goes draw, which is pretty brutal. And there's been some really interesting fights happening lately and will be happening in early 2026. But if you haven't caught up with David Benavidez' last fight against Yard, that was a good one. So click here to see me break that down and subscribe while you're at it so you don't miss other fight discussions like this. See ya.